the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Straight ahead on the news at noon, a close call caught on camera in Fairfax County, how people in the DMV are reacting.
I'm Will Jawando, and I'm running for Senate because I believe we can build a shared prosperity in Maryland.
And later, a sit-down with Councilmember Will Jawando. What can we expect from his run for Senate? And good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for the news at noon. I'm Mark Hall. We're about to show you video that could be disturbing. In Virginia, Fairfax County drivers are in disbelief after seeing the shocking video of a crash on a parkway where an officer barely escaped with his life. That officer and the driver got injured in the crash. DC News Now's Tosin Fakile showed that video to some drivers and has their reaction.
Video of that car crash is one Fairfax County drivers we spoke to said will stick with them. Now we're going to show you that video, but just a warning, it may be difficult to watch. And this was the reaction from some Fairfax County drivers to this scary incident.
Oh my God, ooh.
Oh my God.
Police say that car was going over 120 miles per hour in a 50-mile-per-hour zone. It's more disturbing this crash happened while the veteran officer had just pulled over a car going 73 miles an hour. The officer's decision to be on the passenger side of the person he pulled over, officials say may have saved his life. The driver and the passenger in the vehicle that caused the crash were all teenagers under the age of 18. That's according to police. And the video leaves drivers in disbelief.
After looking at the video, I'd say fear, like it's definitely like one of the biggest things that comes to mind.
I'll definitely drive more defensively. Definitely be sure to look a few miles up ahead just to be on the safe side.
Officials say this year alone, compared to 2022, they've seen a 62% increase in the number of citations issued to teen drivers. Fairfax County Police Chief reminding parents to pay attention and be careful of the kind of vehicles they buy for their teenagers. In Fairfax County, I'm Tosin Fakile for DC News Now.
All right, Tosin, thank you. Let's go to meteorologist Damon Matson with the latest check on the forecast. And Damon, we have to talk about that video. It just shows you how dangerous it can be out there on the roadways.
Seriously, though, and that's without any weather, too. So, yeah. Again, folks, take it easy, to say the least. Now, weather conditions, though, they may impact your day as you're out and about, though, as we move throughout this Wednesday. One last day of this dreary weather, and in some parts of the area, that snowfall still continues to go. Check this out. This is one of the pictures sent in by one of our viewers in Oakland, Maryland. That's in Garrett County. The clash of the seasons. That does not look like May right there, but that is exactly what we have out there in parts of Garrett County. That snow coating every surface, and this really tells the tale too. Spring greenery on some of the trees being covered up by that snowfall. So again, just crazy stuff out west right now as we continue to deal with this very pesky storm system. There's that lighter blue indicating those snow showers continuing back across the higher terrain. This is the third day in a row, folks, we are dealing with this same type of weather, and there's all of the cloud cover with some occasional passing showers across the rest of the DMV. And yeah, again, this same storm system is spinning away, but notice how the center is now more over western New York, Lake Ontario. It is slowly beginning to slide off to the east, and soon enough, it is going to be moving off the Atlantic coastline and leaving us to see some improving conditions. But this afternoon, don't hold your breath for that change just yet. We're staying with temperatures mostly in the 50s, a good amount of cloud cover. Yes, those late rain showers, they will continue to be on and off straight through this evening. But as this storm system exits, when can we expect those temperatures to finally start rebounding? We'll have a full check of your forecast coming up here in just a bit.
All right, Damon, thank you. Developing now in the district, police need your help with finding the driver responsible for a deadly hit and run. 30-year-old Reese Harris was waiting for a tow truck when he was struck and killed. It happened early Monday morning in the southbound lane of Interstate 295 near the exit for the Naval Research Laboratory. That is right next to the Maryland border. Our Dave Laval went to the Blue Jacket Brewery in Navy Yard where Reese Harris worked, and he spoke with friends and family members who knew him well.
clown, a showman. Everybody loved him.
Patricia Harris wants to find the person who ended the life of her son, Reese.
Right now, it's no room for anger. I just beg whoever did this to come forward.
The 30-year-old Harris died early Monday morning on southbound I-295 near the Naval Laboratory exit. Someone struck him while Harris waited outside his car for a tow truck.
How low do you have to go to be able to hit somebody at 3 o'clock in the morning and just leave?
Harris's aunt passed the scene while she drove north into D.C. for work.
I noticed that there was no cars coming on the other side, and I was wondering what had happened, but it never occurred to me that it was him.
Harris earned the title of Duke of Libations for his bartending skills. Many of those memories he created with his wife of 8 years, Senya.
It's heartless, it's cruel, I don't know how anybody could do it. I don't know how anybody could hit a person and just drop off.
Harris's family planned to celebrate his 31st birthday May 27th. Instead, they're now preparing for his funeral.
And that was our Dave Laval reporting. A service is expected to take place next week. D.C. police told D.C. News Now that they're looking for a 1999 to 2003 Ford Windstar minivan. And they don't know the color. You're being asked to call police if you have any information that can help the investigation. Happening today, leaders in Prince William County are expected to vote on putting metal detectors in schools. Board members have been debating whether to add them to entrances and exits at high schools. Well, the conversation sparked after a 6-year-old shot his teacher at an elementary school in Newport News earlier this year. If the board votes in favor of funding the project, those metal detectors would be installed before the next school year. D.C. restaurants and small businesses impacted by the pandemic could soon see some relief. Councilmember Charles Allen introduced a bill to help owners out. He says that small businesses have fewer resources to adapt to the changing industry. And some of the changes introduced in the bill include increasing the real estate tax credit from $5,000 to $10,000, banning sales tax on service fees, and service fees would no longer be considered sales. That is used in calculating rent for small businesses. Councilmember Allen hopes that these changes will help local small businesses stay afloat. And a new bill being introduced by several D.C. council members to help tenants avoid hot apartments during the summer. It's called the Cools Act, and current law does not require landlords to turn on the AC until May 15th. But weather experts say we're going to experience temperatures above 80 degrees earlier each year. The initiative would update the district's regulations for buildings with older systems.
I'm Will Jawando, and I'm running for Senate because I believe we can build a shared prosperity in Maryland.
Well, today, Montgomery County Councilman Will Jawando spoke to DC News Now's Shanika Grimshaw to talk about what he expects from his run for Senate.
Will, when you heard the news, you didn't waste any time to announce your interest. Have you always had interest in the Senate position?
Well, I've always had interest in helping the people of Maryland. I think I've demonstrated that. It's my lifelong home. I'm serving in my second term in the Montgomery County Council, over 1 million Marylanders. Senator Ben Cardin has done a great job over the last 57 years serving our state. And it's time now for a generational change. When I talk to Montgomery County residents, when I talk to folks around Maryland, they're worried. They're worried that kind of the basic tenets of the American dream, that they're going to be able to afford to pay their rent or mortgage, send their kids to a good school, retire with dignity. They're worried that that's at risk. And I think we need a leader in the Senate right now who has a proven track record of working on those things and really building a shared prosperity. I think we can do that here in Maryland.
All right, and in your campaign video, you talked about equity and raising others up. How would you do that if you are elected to Senate?
Yeah, well, a lot that we've done in Montgomery County, I think, is a good example, right? We need to relieve pressure for people and push back against this false narrative and what I really call the big lie, that if my neighbor does well, I have to do worse. I think it's pervasive in our country right now because it's pushed by some on the right. But we launched the first ever guaranteed income program in the state. 300 families are getting $800 a month to pay their monthly bills and relieve that pressure. We have affordable housing investments that were historic. We stabilized rents during the pandemic and looking to do that permanently so that your rent can't go up at any amount at any time. Passed the first ever criminal justice reform that was used as a model at the state level. We need to do that in Washington. And I think making sure teachers and firefighters and nurses can live in our community and just have a chance to retire with dignity. Those are all things that I've worked on that I want to take to Washington to really push back and build this shared prosperity.
Our thanks to Shanika Grimshaw. Meanwhile, former Governor Larry Hogan announced that he will not be running for that Senate seat. Many Republicans saw Hogan as their best chance to flip that seat from blue to red. And Hogan said that he received, quote, a lot of calls about running for the seat in an interview with The Hill. He told them that he was not interested in running.
It's just not something I've ever aspired to do, but I am taking...
Is that a hard no?
You know, I've said I'm not quite Sherman-esque. I'm not, you know, I've just never been interested in the job. And I've told most people, look, you know, thanks. I'm flattered and I appreciate the call, but it's not something I'm pursuing.
And Ben Cardin served in the Senate for more than 15 years. And we're hearing from the next mayor of New Carrollton, Maryland. Councilmember Katrina Dodro beat current mayor Felicia Nembhard in Monday's election. And we spoke to Dodro about the future of the city. And last week, Nembhard fired longtime police chief David Rice, citing personal issues. Now, part of Dodro's new vision for the city includes possibly bringing Rice back. Dodro says that it's going to take time to rebuild.
Absolutely. We are definitely planning to reinstall him. We want a combination of the tradition of New Carrollton and looking towards the future.
And we reached out to the former chief, David Rice, and he tells us that it would be an honor to be reinstated as police chief. Meantime, College Park is gearing up for a special election happening this Saturday. Voters there will cast their ballots for a new mayor after former Mayor Patrick Woyan resigned in early March. He was later arrested and charged with 80 counts of child pornography. Polls open at 10 a.m. and close at 6 p.m.